Hello everyone, welcome back to part 3 of our My 2017 tutorial series on our solar system. This is where we left off in our last project, so we're just going to go ahead and dive right back in here. We started working on our textures and we're just going to finish that off. We're pretty close, not too much more to do. Okay, so where we left off was Mars, so we got to do, almost call this one Saturn, this is Jupiter. So we'll go ahead and create ourselves another Lambert, so Lambert here. Go ahead and call this one Lambert Jupiter. Okay, and same process. So go into the color channel, go to the texture little checker box here. We're going to go to File, we're going to go to Folder, and we're going to go to Jupiter. Okay, go open. Okay, and now I can just drag and drop this onto Jupiter. There we go. Okay, that's good. Okay. Next is Saturn. So we're going to create ourselves a Lambert for Saturn. Call this one Saturn. Okay. And we're going to, same thing. Little checker box on the channel color. We're going to go to File, Folder, Saturn. That must be a corrupted one. That one. Okay. Open. And then we're going to drop that one on center. So what I'm doing here, just in case you guys forgot, I'm just going up here, middle mouse button until you get that little plus sign next to it, and then just middle mouse button, drag and drop it down here. So just go bloop, bloop, and now this one is got that texture on there. Next I want to texture the ring for Saturn. So I'm going to create another Lambert. This one's going to be called Saturn Ring, and I'm going to go to the color attribute, checker box, File, Folder, and we're going to Saturn Ring Color. That's the one we want. I'm going to go to Open. It looks a little bit different, as you notice. It's got a little slice. I'm going to Open, and then just drag this one on here. Okay, now this one here looks a little differently. It's not the way you want it to look. You see how you get this line here? Colors didn't quite work out the way I wanted to, which is fine. I already knew this was going to happen. What's going on here is that, close this out. I'm going to close that out right now. Go back to perspective. What's going on here is the UVs for this guy here are not working with the texture. So we're going to go to our UV texture editor. It's the first time we've been there, and I'm going to explain some things to you. So we're going to go back to our split panel here. We're going to go to Panels, Panel, UV Editor. Okay. All right. So what's going on here now? Here is the 2D representation of this 3D object. And this is the texture file that's being mapped onto it. So as you can tell, those colors are going straight across here, which means that they're going straight this way, right? So what we want is to take this object here and rotate it so that it's going down the length here, right? So I'm going to take this here. I'm going to go to Shell. I'm going to select it that way. I'm going to hit E for rotate. And you'll get this little wheel here. Now this is a little bit different. Now don't try rotating it over here. This isn't going to work. We're going to rotate it over here. And if you look over here, you can see as I rotate this, it changes the textures when I'm moving it over here. Okay, perfect. Now, what I could have done, here's another option. So let me just. This will work just fine, but if you want to be very precise, some of you are that way. I've gotten there myself at points. So we're just going to go ahead and back it up over here. So what I'm going to do is select this guy, and instead of rotating it by hand, I'm just going to use these guys here. They'll rotate them in 45-degree increments. So rotate it 1 time, 2 times. So now it's perfectly vertical. Okay. Now I want to scale it so that it gets all the texture information, because right now it's just this little beanpole looking thing and it doesn't get all the texture. Okay, so I'm going to activate my scale tool with R. which is activated now, and I can use the red box for X and scale the textures so that it now takes up all the texture information. If you look over here, now it's looking much more interesting. That's what I was after. Okay. Perfect. Alright, so for now I'm done with the UV texture editor. This is something we're going to revisit again in the future, so if this scared you, get used to it. We're going to be getting back into this real soon. Okay, so back to our perspective view. We're done with it for now. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. I'm going to go back to my hypershape though. So I'm going to click on this guy here so I can get my two panels again. I'm going to go to Panel, Panel, and we're going to go to our hypershade. Okay. Not the hypershade part that I wanted. Lots of buggers, and it closed out the top part here. I closed it earlier. To where now I have this workspace, but no, it doesn't show my shaders. That's a problem. Okay, we'll try to work without it. So we're going to create ourselves a new Lambert. We're going to go to Surfaces, and we're going to go to where's the Lambert at? Okay, that's bugged out on me for a minute, so maybe I can just go ahead and create myself one. So we're going to create ourselves a new Lambert. There we go. That's how we can get that done. So if you didn't catch how I did that, is all I did was just hold down right mouse button, went down to assign a favorite material, and just went up to Lambert from there. Okay, and so I can go to Color, File, Folder, and now we are into Neptune, I believe. Go ahead and call this one Neptune. I'll have to go and find the part of the hypershade that vanished on me. I don't really have time to do it right now. I'll do it a little bit later. Okay. So I just do the same thing on this one. I can just go to right mouse button, assign a favorite material, go with another Lambert. Go ahead and call this one Uranus. Go to Color, File, Folder, and we're going to go to Uranus. Go. And last one, we got Pluto. So Pluto here, right mouse button on the object, go down to assign a favorite material, go to Lambert. We'll go to this little texture file here, go to File, and Folder, and Pluto map. There we go. Okay. Good, good. So now all of our plants here are textured. Perfect. Alright, so now what we got to do is we got to animate our planets. Okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at how we're going to do that. So the first thing I want to animate is going to be my sun. Alright, so, and I have to, before I even do that, I have to decide how long I want my animation to be. So right now on my timeline, which is this line down here, it says frame 1 right here, and you can see where it's got this little gray here. If I drag left and right, that's where I'm at on the timeline. So it's on frame 1, 120. Now at 24 frames per second, that means that this will be just under 5 seconds. Okay, so do I want my animation to be 5 seconds long? I don't know. But I think that 5 seconds is a little bit short. So let's go up to 10 seconds. So let's go ahead and put this at, let's just say 250. Okay. Okay. So now we got enough room here to work. Let's start out and animate. Okay. So what am I going to animate? I can animate everything at once, or I can just animate an individual channel. Animating everything at once is the faster way to go, and that's the way that I'm going to do it. But if you want to animate an individual channel, so we can start out by saying I just want to animate, let's say I just want to animate this part here. So I just key the Y channel, and then when I go to frame 250, I can say, okay, let's also put in a value of, let's say 720. That was the translate, that was not the right channel. Oops. That was my bad. I meant to do the rotate Y. Key selected there. And then on frame 250, now you have to move this. So on frame 1, it's at 0, and I go after the left mouse button, click over here. So now on the timeline, it's in a different spot. If I did it over here, it'd overwrite that keyframe. So now I can put 720 over here, and then key selected. I can also turn on this function here. It says auto keyframe toggle. And this will make it to where once you keyframe something, anytime you change it, it'll automatically override that current frame with a new keyframe. So this is something you gotta be careful with, because otherwise you could possibly overwrite animations you just did by not moving your timeline as you're animating. So I'm going to use this method. I'm going to turn this on. I like using this. I've animated for quite a while though, so I'm pretty comfortable with the pitfalls. If you're not, then just keep keying as you go. Okay, so what does that do for me? It makes it to where now if I was at frame 250, I could say, actually 720, let's say 360 is actually what I wanted. I don't have to go and hit key anything. It automatically overrode that 250 with 360. So that's the power of having this little auto keyframe toggled on. Okay, so we got one keyframe here. This guy here is spinning. All right. Something we also want to take a look at is that when you press play here, it starts out kind of slow, goes a little faster, and then you'll see towards the end, it'll slow down to a stop. Now, that's because my animates exponentially. Ease in, ease out is kind of what they think when it comes to animating. That's how they interpolate between keyframes. Now, let's say you want to go the same speed all the way through. So how would you do that? We'd want to use the graph editor to adjust that. So back over here, the same thing we did to get into our hypershape. Let's go ahead and click on this guy, and we'll go to Panels, Panel, and down to Graph Editor. Okay. Now if I select this guy here, now this is a little bit different than what it looks like in my 2015, 2016, that era. This UI looks a little bit different. Essentially, it works the same exact way though. So there's a couple of new little things here, but it doesn't really affect anything that we're currently going to be doing. So anyways, this is the little exponential curve I told you about. So you got ease in, fast, ease out, slow. Now, if you want this to be the same speed all the way through, simply select the channel you want to be linear, which is what we'd have. It would be a linear rotation, meaning that it would go the same speed all the way through. And you would select this icon right here. It says linear tangents. Okay, so now it's a straight line. So now when I press play, it's the same speed all the way through. If you watch over in the right window, you can see that the sphere is going the same speed all the way through. Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll go ahead and stop this guy. I'm going to leave the graph editor open because we're going to be doing this on our other ones as well. Okay, good. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our next one here. Okay, so we got Mercury. All right, so how much rotation do I want for Mercury? Let's first start out by going to frame 1. Okay, Now I can just hit S and it'll keyframe all the channels. That's a safe bet. I can go ahead and do that. I'm going to do it for this one so that you guys can see how these ones differ. I'll hit S, and you see that all these turn red. That means that every channel on this, its attributes are keyed, meaning that scale, rotate, translate, these are all saved. That's what keyed means, is that all these attributes are saved for this particular time and space. If we change it at any point, it will interpolate from from this status to the next status between those keyframes, or between the timeline. Okay, so we're on frame 1. I'm going to drag the little gray line. I'm going to bring this over to 250, and I'm going to go to rotate Y. And how much do I want to rotate over 250? Let's say 1,000 degrees of rotation. Okay. Hit enter, and it automatically updated. Okay, cool. So now if I press play, see it's spinning really good. Now the thing is, like our last one, I'll go to rotate Y on this. Now it's got all these keyframes going on here, and the reason why is because I keyed all the channels. It wasn't just the one like I did last time. Alright, now it also goes way higher to where I can't see it in the scene. Now I can hit F with my mouse in here, and it'll frame this entire curve in here so where I can see what's going on. So I'll hit F. There we go. Now we're back into something that's more usable. Okay, now I want this to be linear again, so I'm just going to go ahead and click my linear tangents. Okay, so now it's straight. Okay, cool. Go ahead and hit play, see what that looks like. Okay, spinning. Good. Alright, now let's say, or how are we going to get this guy here to animate going around? Now I could animate by going here, and then here, and then here, and then here, but Maya would have it go like these little interpolation paths that would not be circular. It wouldn't be usable, really. I mean, it wouldn't look like a solar system rotating. So there's a couple different ideas on how we can do this. Now, the most straightforward and the easiest is we're going to use grouping. So what we do with a group, let's go ahead and exit out of this for right now. Open up my outliner here. What a group is an empty node, and it's invisible. It's in the middle of, is created at the origin, which is at 0, 0, 0, which is in the center of the sun, which is perfect because that's where we want to pivot our object from. So I'm going to select my object. Now, if you don't have an object selected and you hit Control G, you're going to create something that's called a null node, which is essentially the same thing as a group node, except for it doesn't have anything in it when it's been created. So we're going to select our planet here, and we're going to hit Control G. And if you look down here, it says Group 1. So we'll go ahead and call this one GRP underscore Mercury. Okay. Okay, so let's see what this did for us. Now, if I select the planet and I hit E for rotate, nothing's happened. Nothing's really changed. But if I select the group and I hit rotate, now I can pivot from the group's location, which pivots right at the origin and goes around the sun, which is perfect. Alright, so now I can animate the group while not messing with the animation of the planet. So I'm going to select the group. On frame 1, I'm going to hit S. And on frame 250, I'm going to enter a value of 1,000. And I'm going to hit S. Well, actually, I don't have to S. It's on auto keyframe. So you can see there's already keyframe over on this side. So now let's see what we got. So I can go through here, and you can see that now it's spinning around the sun really fast. Perfect. All right. Now, you know what? Let's actually go a little higher than 1,000. Let's go up to 1,500. Okay, that seems like a lot, but that's okay. Okay. Now the linear tangents, I'm going to deal with all those at the same time at the end. So I'm not going to bounce back and forth between the graph editor. That's just a waste of time and a bad workflow. So moving on, I'm going to go ahead and select my next planet. This one's going to be Mesh Venus. On frame 1, I'm going to hit S. On frame 250, I'm going to, in the Y, I'm going to put in a value of 1,000 again. Now I'm just going to use 1,000 rotation for all of them. They can rotate the same. That's okay with me. It doesn't really matter so much for this particular simulation. Okay, so there it goes. It's spinning. Sorry, allergies. I mentioned it before. Bad in Oregon right now. Got allergy issues. Stay out of Oregon during July. June ain't great either. Alright, so let's keep getting this stuff going around. Alright, so we have the initial spin going on, but we need it to actually go around the planet as well. So we're going to group Venus now. Control G. And call this one GRP underscore Venus. Okay, that's good. Now if I select the group and rotate it, that's perfect. Alright, so let's go ahead and animate the group. So on frame 1, hit S. Go to frame 250. I'm going to enter a value of 100 degrees less rotation than the last one. So this one ended on 1500, right? The group is at 1500. So if I select Venus's group on 250, I'm going to put in a value of 1400. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. Don't even have to hit keyframe. It's already done. Auto toggle will take care of that for me. Okay, so now if I preview that, you see they start to pull away. That's perfect. Alright, moving on down the line, we're going to do Earth next. Let's see if I can get all these done before our lesson is over. I'm at 22 minutes now, so I have 8 minutes to finish these off. So on frame 1, I'll hit S. On frame 250, I'm going to put a value of 1,000. Now, Earth is a little bit of a different animal because Earth also has a moon. Now, how are we going to handle the moon? I'm not going to bother animating the moons just because they're so small you won't be able to tell that they're spinning. But I do want the moons to be spinning around, orbiting around their planets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group them, or no, actually I'm going to parent them into their respective planets. So I'll select the moon, shift select the Earth, and I'll hit P for parent. Now, if I haven't explained what parenting is yet, which I don't think I have, essentially what a parent is kind of like the group. So if you look at the group here, the group is essentially a parent type system. It's a hierarchy system where you have your parent object, which is at the top, and then underneath it you have nested inside its children objects, which is you have Mesh Mercury, that is a child of group Mercury. Now if you look at the mesh for planet, where we have Earth here, and you click the little plus sign next to it, it opens up and shows you that it has a child that's a moon. Okay. Essentially what this does for us is it makes it to where anything that the planet does, the moon also does. Now, what the children can do though is the children can also move around independent of their parents, but when the parents move, it takes the children with them no matter what they're doing. So that's essentially it in a nutshell. We'll be revisiting parenting and constraining in the future a lot more, but grouping and parenting, that's it in a nutshell. Okay, so this is parented. As Earth rotates it, its moon goes with it. Now we just need to make it to where the Earth rotates around the sun. Okay, so on frame 1, I'm going to group it. So hit Control G. So, oops, ungroup that. I grouped the moon. I need to group the Earth. So Control G. Call this one GRP Earth. Now, GRP is the name convention for groups. It's a shortened up version of it. Okay. Hit S on frame 1. I'm going to go to frame 250. And rotate Y. I'm going to put a value of 1300 is where we're at now. So hit Enter, hit S. Actually, I'm going to hit S because of my auto toggle. I keep forgetting I have that on. Okay, frame 1 and going to 250. There we go. It starts to pull apart as the degrees of rotation get away from it. Alright, moving on, we got Mars next. Let's move this moon over here. Okay, and then I'll select both moons at the same time and then select the Mars planet last. Now that's how parenting works. Select the child first, then the parent, and then you hit P for parent. And then the child, the last thing selected is the parent. If you select the moons last, the last moon you select will be the parent. So make sure the planet is the last thing you select. So it's 2 moons, then the planet, then you hit P for parent. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to animate the planet. So hit S on frame 1, and then on 250, I'm going to put in a value of 1000 in the Y, rotate. Okay, and then I'm going to group Mars, so Control G, GRP underscore Mars. I'm sorry, yeah, there we go. S, we'll go to 250. And let's see here, I think I'm at 1100. Let's see where the Earth is. That should be at 1200. Also, if you press up and down on your keys, that walks you up and down the hierarchy, so it's another little bit for you. So if you walk, you see down here, so let's say you're down here, you press up the group, down the group. Okay. All right. So yeah, again, kind of a little tangent here. It's going to put 1200 over here, and that should finish that. Okay, so now Mars is pulling away. Okay, that's good. Go ahead and take care of Jupiter next. Selecting all of Jupiter's moons. Select Jupiter last. Hit P for parent. So now, if you look over here, all the moons are underneath Jupiter. That's good. On frame 1, I'm going to hit S. On frame 250, I'm going to put a value of 1000. Okay. Good. I'm going to hit Control G, group Jupiter, GRP. Okay. Frame 1, I'll hit S. Frame 250, I think that now we're at 1100. Okay. Cool, that's looking good. We are running low on time. I don't think I'm going to be able to get all of this done today. So I'm going to do Saturn. I'm going to call it from there. So select each one of the moons, then the ring, then the planet last, and hit P for parent. Okay. I'm going to animate Saturn, frame 1, hit S on frame 250, put in a value of 1000. Okay. And then I'm going to group Saturn, so Control G for group. Call it GRP Saturn. Okay. And then on frame 1, we'll hit S. On frame 250, I'm going to put in a value of 1000. And there we go. Test that out. That's okay. Alright. Okay, so we're at just about 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and save now. Let's go ahead and save scene as. I'm going to call this one scene 2. Save as. Continue. Okay. Alright, so in the next lesson, we'll go ahead and finish grouping and rotating these as well. And then we'll create some starry backgrounds, and we'll do some final animations, or final renderings for this particular project. Alright, so thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next lesson.